I am Anna, 19 years old this year. I just passed the university entrance exam and moved to the city to study. The first time stepping into the big city, everything was unfamiliar to me. I thought I would have interesting experiences here, but the first memory of this place was something I could never have expected. I rented a room deep in a small alley, about a 10-minute walk from the university. The dormitory is old, with peeling walls, a narrow and dark hallway. The landlady is a woman in her 50s, and she led me to a room on the second floor. At the end of the hallway, the small room appears before me with a simple wooden bed against the wall, an old study table, and a small window overlooking the hallway.
This room is a bit old, but very clean and quiet. What do you think?
I think it's quite nice. May I ask, is anyone staying in the room across the hall?
That room is empty. No one has stayed there yet. You clean the room, and if you need anything, just call me, okay?
I quickly tidied up the room, and once I was done, it was already dark outside. The dormitory was very quiet at night, and I could hardly hear the bustling traffic on the street. I lay on the bed, exhausted, and quickly drifted off to sleep. I vaguely heard footsteps in the hallway. Perhaps someone had just returned to their room, so I didn't pay much attention and continued to sleep. The next day, I was preparing the content for the presentation, and I was so focused on writing that I lost track of time. Pick up the phone to check. It's already 0000 p.m. Suddenly, I heard the sound of footsteps clattering in the hallway. I wondered who could still be walking around outside at this hour. I looked out the window, but the corridor was quiet and empty. A chill ran down my spine. I quickly shut the window and rushed to bed. In the middle of the night, I was awakened by the sound of children playing, and there were whispers of people talking, but I couldn't hear what they were saying. Those sounds seemed to be right outside my room. Is anyone there? I called out, but all I received was an invisible silence, a chilling atmosphere enveloping the entire room. I fearfully turned to look out the window. Suddenly, I saw a shadow standing outside the window, a hazy silhouette. Only part of the face could be seen staring at her. The next morning, I decided to tell the landlady about my experiences over the past few days.
It could just be the sound of a cat. There are a lot of homeless cats in this region at night.
Why didn't you tell me from the beginning?
You must be so exhausted that you're only having nightmares.
I wanted to leave this place, but finding affordable accommodation in the city was difficult. If I were to move out now, I wouldn't know where to go. If those sounds stopped completely, I thought I might be able to stay a little longer. A few days later, I no longer heard those strange sounds. Perhaps the landlady did something to keep them from bothering me. If those sounds completely disappear, I think I could stay here a bit longer. At midnight, I suddenly heard a knock on the door. I got up, stepped outside, and opened it, but no one was there. As I looked around, I noticed a man standing motionless not far away, his back turned to me. A chill ran down my spine as I slowly walked towards the man and called out, "Is anyone there?"
Get out of here. You are not allowed to stay here.
Why am I not allowed to be here? Who are you? The man slowly turned around, the light from the bulb revealing a gruesome, bloodied face, an image I could never forget. Seeing that image, I screamed in fear. But looking around, it was the familiar room again. It turns out everything was just a dream. Suddenly, a knocking sound echoed. I didn't know who was knocking on my door in the middle of the night like that. I began to fear and secretly thought, could it be them? The people in the room opposite? Who is it? Who's out there? The knocking continued to grow louder, as if the person outside was about to break the door down. I was terrified, staring at the door without daring to breathe heavily.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
I knew that if I stayed, even more terrifying things awaited me.
When I woke up, it was already bright outside, and the door was still tightly shut as if nothing had happened. I quickly took everything I had and left this horrible house.
I had a feeling that if I stayed any longer, even more terrifying things would await me.
The man and that room remain a mystery to me. But after everything that has happened, I no longer dare to return to that boarding house again.
Living with strangers carries a lot of risks. I almost lost my life just because I decided to live with a stranger. I am Neo, 23 years old, and I had just moved into a small apartment near my workplace. Because I wanted to save costs, I posted an ad on Facebook looking for a roommate. Not long after, a guy named Justin contacted me. He seemed cold and quiet, but I thought that would help avoid trouble, so I agreed to let him stay. Although we lived in the same apartment, Justin and I rarely ran into each other. During the day, he always stayed in his room with the door closed, only going out in the evening and usually returning very late at night. One night, I was thirsty, so I went to the living room to get a drink. I saw Justin coming back, holding a black plastic bag, and there was a long scratch on his face that was still bleeding. I asked Justin, with a surprised tone.
Why are you back so late? What's wrong with your face?
Justin looked at me coldly and said,
It's okay. I had something I needed to do.
Justin gave me a curt reply and quietly walked into the room. I found him a bit puzzling, but I didn't pay much attention. The next evening, Justin hurriedly left, but his door was still ajar. I stood up to help him close the door, but suddenly smelled a stench like blood. I curiously pushed the door open and stepped inside. The room was pitch dark. Groping for the switch next to the door, I turned on the light, and the room was instantly filled with brightness. A horrifying scene lay before me. On the table lay a dagger and a rough rope stained with dried blood. My heart suddenly pounded, and a cold shiver ran down my spine. On the wall, a whiteboard was covered with images of women, each marked with red pen strokes. My gaze unconsciously drifted down to the bottom of the trash can, and out of curiosity, I pulled it out, only to be horrified to discover a pair of pupils seemingly glaring at me. I felt a chill run down my spine, but before I could react, footsteps echoed outside the door. Justin coldly looked at me and said,
What are you doing here?
I pushed Justin's hand away, nervously stepping back.
These are the people who have been reported missing on the news these past few days. You killed them!
They all deserve to die.
I nervously stepped back and looked at Justin, saying,
You're a murderer. I'm calling the police.
Justin smirked coldly.
Then let's see if you can get out of here.
He suddenly delivered a strong kick to my stomach. My whole body was thrown back, staggering before I felt hard. My back, hitting the edge of the table, accidentally brushed against the knife on the table, and I hurriedly grabbed it and lunged towards Justin. But he quickly seized my wrist and tightened his grip. I gritted my teeth and put all my strength into kicking Justin's shin. He groaned, bending down in pain, and I immediately turned around to run. Justin quickly regained his balance and lunged forward, kicking me hard in the back. I lost control, staggered, and fell heavily onto the floor. As soon as I turned around to get up, he rushed at me, pinning me down and throwing a series of punches at my face. I shouted angrily,
Murderer, let me go now!
Justin angrily replied,
What do you know? They deserve to die. Traitors, liars. Just like my mother. She deceived my father, betrayed our family and Kia, and caused his death.
His every word felt like a sharp, cold blade slicing through the air. I stood frozen, my heart pounding. I tried to stay calm and replied,
Do you think doing this will be good for you? Or will it only make that obsession haunt you forever?
Justin froze, his grip on my collar unconsciously loosening. A flicker of hesitation flashed in his eyes. I seized the opportunity, mustering all my strength to break free. I shoved him aside, desperately trying to escape his grasp, but Justin quickly caught on to my intention. He reached out and grabbed my ankle, sending a sharp pain shooting through my calf. Horrified, I realized that the blade in his hand had pierced deep into my flesh. A searing pain spread through my body, forcing me to collapse. Justin glared at me and said through gritted teeth,
I didn't want to kill you, but you already know too much.
He tightened his grip on the knife, slowly stepping toward me. My heart clenched, and my breath grew unsteady. I looked at him in fear and pleaded.
Justin, stop before it's too late.
Justin looked at me with disappointment and said,
I can't turn back anymore.
Just as the blade was mere inches from me, the door suddenly burst open. Police stormed in, their guns aimed directly at Justin. A police officer aimed his gun and shouted,
Drop the weapon! Hands up now!
The police rushed in, handcuffing Justin before dragging him out of the apartment. His face was pale, and his empty eyes glanced over me one last time. My breath was still unsteady, my heart pounding wildly in my chest. Just a few seconds later, and I might not have existed in this world anymore. Everything had finally come to an end, but my heart still felt heavy. It was like a nightmare I couldn't escape from.
Mary, a first-year journalism student, is 19 years old this year. Before, she was always an energetic and cheerful person with a bright smile on her face. However, after a major incident 2 years ago, Mary changed. She became more subdued, often sitting alone, rarely interacting with others. The story begins 2 years ago when Mary was 17 years old. Her father unexpectedly received a notice that he had to transfer to another province for work. Mary's family had just moved into this house to make it more convenient for her father's job.
Your room is on the second floor. I help you move your luggage.
This house is beautiful and spacious, isn't it, Mom? Oh, this room is beautiful!
This room isn't cleaned up yet, and this mirror, Mum, please call a worker to take it down later.
In the room, there was a large mirror hanging on the wall opposite the bed. This mirror had a brown wooden frame that looked very classic. But strangely, it also looked brand new, not a scratch on it. Mary walked over and smiled at her reflection in the mirror. Suddenly, she caught a glimpse of a shadow quickly passing by in the mirror. Startled, she looked closely again, but all she saw was her normal reflection. A strange feeling crept over her, but Mary didn't think much of it. Perhaps she was just fatigued after the long move and was seeing things.
No need, Mom. I think this mirror is still usable. Just leave it here, Mom.
All right, then I'll go to the kitchen to cook, and you clean up by yourself.
Mary walked up to the mirror and looked at it again. A strange feeling made it impossible for her to look away. She stood there silently for an unknown amount of time until her mother's voice echoed from outside the door.
Mary, have you finished cleaning up? Mary, what's wrong with you? Why haven't you cleaned up yet? I've already finished cooking.
I'm a bit tired.
During their first meal after moving to the new house, Mary's father suddenly said,
Mary, next year you'll be going to university. Focus on studying. Don't get too caught up in playing anymore.
I know. You don't need to worry about it. I can handle it myself.
I know your academic performance is good, but you can't be complacent. The university entrance exam is very difficult now.
You're talking too much. I'm going to my room.
That night, Mary was sleeping when she suddenly heard someone calling her.
Mary!
Mary looked at herself in the mirror with a tired face. She felt that the person in the mirror looked a bit different. She saw another girl resembling herself in the mirror, calling her name.
Mary, Mary!
Who are you? Why are you in my room?
I am you. You are me.
No! No way! You get out of my house!
Mary jumped up on the bed, gasping for breath. She looked around and realized she was still in her familiar room, with warm rays of sunlight filtering through the old window frame.
What is happening? Was it just a dream?
She looked at the mirror on the wall. It still lay there quietly. Nothing unusual.
It was just a nightmare.
Mary stood in front of the mirror, staring at her reflection. Suddenly, the image in the mirror changed, and she saw the girl from last night. Her face was pale, but her bloodshot eyes stared intently at her.
Wait! We meet again. Mary, you can't run away. We are one.
No! You're lying!
Can't you see? The two of us are one.
No! I can't be you! No way!
You can't escape, Mary.
Stay away from me! Don't come near me!
Mary, we are one. You exist, so I exist too. If you disappear, I will disappear as well. Stab your hand, Mary. If you die, you won't see me anymore. Come on, Mary, just do it.
Hearing a loud noise coming from her room, Mary's parents hurried over. They were horrified by the scene before them.
Mary, what are you doing?
She's following me! She's really scary! You have to make her disappear!
Who is she? What's wrong with you?
She's here! She won't leave you alone!
Mary's father hurriedly took her to the hospital. Sitting on the hospital bed, Mary fearfully curled up in a corner, her mouth continuously mumbling.
Don't come near me! Don't come near me!
Her parents looked at their daughter's strange behavior and realized something was terribly wrong. The next morning, Mary's father invited a well-known fortune teller from the area.
Your daughter is being followed by a demon residing in the mirror. It is a spirit that has existed for hundreds of years. Although the mirror has been destroyed, the demon still lingers in this house.
What should we do to save our daughter now? Please help us.
I will pay any price you want, as long as you can save our daughter.
Wear this talisman. It will temporarily protect you. Tomorrow, I will come to perform a ritual to drive it away. But whether it will be successful or not still depends on your determination.
Mary, follow me. You will no longer have to be afraid.
Never! I will not let you have your way!
Mary, give me your hand. Only I can help you escape this fear.
I will not be afraid of you anymore! I will never follow your words again!
Mary, do you think that old man can help you defeat me? I will devour your soul, and you will belong to me forever. You will never live in peace, Mary. I will haunt you for life.
The demon has vanished. It's all over now, Mary.
From that moment on, Mary never dared to look in the mirror again. Although the demon had disappeared, the fear would probably follow her for the rest of her life. After this story, I hope you will be careful with old mirrors because they might be holding a demon's soul.
I have a friend named Emma who is 25 years old. She once had a beautiful love story with a man named William, who was 3 years older than her. At first, William loved and spoiled her, making her believe she had found the perfect partner. But soon, his love became suffocating, and turned into a nightmare. William controlled Emma too much. He didn't let her meet her friends, not even her closest girlfriends. When she couldn't take it anymore, she decided to break up. But William didn't let her go easily. At first, he begged her desperately, but then he started threatening her. One day, he kidnapped Emma. She woke up in a strange room, her hands and feet tied tightly. William spoke softly.
Hello, my love.
William's voice was gentle, but it sent chills down Emma's spine. She tried to move, but the ropes were too tight and hurt her wrists. Emma shouted angrily.
Let me go, William!
William tilted his head and smiled.
You are mine. I won't let you leave me.
He walked closer and touched her face. Emma tried to turn away, but she couldn't do anything. William wanted Emma to love him again and obey him. He clenched his teeth and said,
Emma, say you love me. Say it!
Emma struggled, but the more she resisted, the tighter he held her. She yelled,
I hate you! I regret ever loving you!
Hearing this, William's eyes filled with rage. He immediately slapped Emma hard. Emma felt a burning pain on one side of her face, and the sharp sting made her dizzy. William shouted angrily,
I did everything for you. And you? You want to leave me? You betrayed me.
Emma screamed back.
William, you are crazy! You disgust me!
William became more furious. He punched and slapped her repeatedly until her lips bled. The days after that were a never-ending nightmare. Whenever she resisted, he beat her, starved her, and left her weak and trembling. But after hurting her, he would hold her close, kiss her forehead, and comfort her like a child. Emma soon realized that the more she fought back, the more violent he became. She spoke softly.
William, I'm sorry for hurting you.
She knew she had to act the way he wanted, at least until she found a way to escape. Without waiting for his reaction, she smiled gently and said,
These days, I realize that I still love you.
William seemed surprised by her reaction. His eyes widened in shock. Even though she wanted to push him away, Emma held back. She had to think fast and find a way to escape this horrible place. William smiled happily.
Good girl. I knew you still loved me.
Emma then said softly,
William, I want to hug you, but my hands are tied.
Without hesitation, William untied her ropes. Emma watched as he loosened each knot, feeling relieved inside. She gave him a weak smile and whispered,
Thank you, William. I love you.
William smiled with satisfaction, stroking her head like a pet. Emma then saw a bottle of wine on the table. Slowly, she walked over and poured some into a glass. She handed it to William and smiled.
William, I am really happy to be with you.
William was completely off guard. He took the glass of wine from Emma's hand and brought it to his lips to drink. Seizing the moment, Emma grabbed the wine bottle and smashed it over his head. Emma ran to the door, but it was locked. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't open it. She looked around the room, searching for anything to help her escape. Then she saw a rusty iron rod in the corner. Without hesitation, she grabbed it and used all her strength to hit the door. After several strikes, the door finally broke open. Emma ran outside without looking back. Later, she called the police, but when they arrived, William was gone. There were no signs of torture or blood in the apartment. In fact, the apartment was Emma's home, but she truly believed she had been kidnapped. The police thought she had mental health issues and sent her to the hospital for treatment. A few days later, they found a man's body in an abandoned house outside the city. His body had multiple stab wounds from a broken wine bottle found at the scene. After investigating, the police confirmed that the victim was William. They also found Emma's fingerprints at the crime scene. However, when they questioned her, she had no memory of killing William. After suffering such a huge trauma, Emma could no longer tell what was real and what was just a nightmare in her mind. Now she is in the hospital, receiving treatment for PTSD and paranoid disorder.